It is time to work on your art journal covers. This is one of my favorite things that my students do all year long because it teaches me so much about you, and I am so excited to get to know about you. You guys have learned a lot about me, a lot about Mrs. Cantrell, but I just can't wait to see what you create on these art journal covers. So the first slide of this presentation says, please watch this video entirely to understand the requirements of your art journal front and back covers. When you go through this slideshow, it's going to give you some examples of house crests. That is what you're going to be making for me. So, of course, as you can see, I got my inspiration from Harry Potter. And something I love about the Hogwarts crest is that it clearly represents the different houses of Harry Potter: Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw. It has a motto at the bottom. And what is so great about that is it tells you what you need to know about the school. That's what a coat of arms does, what a shield does. It has a lot of symbolism inside of it. If you don't know what symbol means, it is an image that's used to represent an idea. So, for example, for teachers, we usually have an apple that represents us. Now, teachers aren't apples, but it's just a symbol. On the right here, I used the Hogwarts crest to model my own classroom crest. And you can see that I took the similar shape, but I put in 7th grade art, of course, instead of the H of Hogwarts. And then each section of the crest has different materials that we usually use in art class. Of course, you guys know this year's a little bit different, but it also has, oh, did I move myself successfully? Whoa, I did a thing. Awesome. Okay. It has my motto, which is originality, art knowledge, artistic ownership, and process over product. Those are the most important things. So I want to take a couple looks at some traditional crests so you guys can start to kind of brainstorm and get some ideas. So these are crests from way back in the day. A lot of times crests would represent families, royalty, knights, different types of things like that. And there's a few different parts to crests that you need to know about. So the number one part that is probably easiest to recognize is the shield. That's the part in the center here. And when we're talking about the shield, that usually has symbols inside of the shield that represent something too. So just by looking at this one on the right, you can see that there's a very big nautical theme going on. The sea is really important there. Nowhere does it say, we are the people of the sea or anything like that. You can tell from the little images that are there. You're also going to need to pay attention to what's on the top here. The top can be really complex. Usually it has, in the olden days, it had like a helmet and things like that. This has a sundial. Over here you have the dove, and you even have an extra little descriptor up there. And again, you have that kind of shield that's very traditional. And then on the side, you're going to have what I call side supporters. They're the things that are supporting the shield. So normally it is something like an animal or something from nature. It doesn't have to be, but these, I'm just showing you some traditional things. The last thing you're going to need to know is a motto. So a lot of times these were in Latin or in the language of the country of origin. And they do a great job explaining what the crest represents. Here's some other traditional, sorry, my dog just burped. Here are some other traditional, well, actually, they're not very traditional. My mistake. They are modern crests for the country of Australia. The one on the left is extremely minimal, but it has very simple symbols that represent what Sydney, Australia is about. The one on the right is a little bit more picture-based. It looks kind of like a little bit more cartoony. This is our crest for Troy High School. So you can see that the lamp represents academics. We have drama represented. We have music represented. We have sports. And we have our motto, truth, honor, and sportsmanship. You can also see Tip City, a neighboring district. They also have a crest or a coat of arms. It's a really great. It's a really great way to understand what a community is about, what a person's about. So let's talk about your requirements. After you build your art journal, you construct your art journal, you're going to be getting a brainstorming paper. And let me show you what that looks like. Here's a better picture of it. So you are going to have 2 requirements. You're going to need to create a front cover of your journal. And you're going to need to create a back cover of your journal. I don't expect you to do anything inside just quite yet, just the front and the back. On the front, you're going to be required to make a personal crest, and there are 4 parts to the personal crest that you need to think about. You need to have some sort of a motto. That is the thing that goes along the bottom and is some sort of a quote. It could be words that inspire you. A lot of times people use music as a source of inspiration. My personal quote, like for my life, is devoted to art, love, and magic. That's kind of what I live by. You have to have some sort of a top. So on my example, I have a watercolor palette. I have this on the slides too, but I have a watercolor palette because that is one of my favorite things to do. Actually, all the stuff behind me is a watercolor. You need to have some sort of a side supporter. So what that means is what's holding up your shield, your main focus. And for me, that is a peacock and a rainbow are my side supporters. So it does not have to be a living thing. And then you need to have a shield with at least 5 symbols inside. So I have a bajillion symbols on mine. I have the paint splatters each have something about me. Like I love to bake. I love Harry Potter. I love water, crystals, Harry Potter. Again, potions and Harry Potter. I love snow. So just some things that represent me. At no point are there any words on here other than Miss Brown. I guess you could say that. And then there are just little symbols that represent me. On the background of your on the background behind your personal crest, you still need to fill up the space. So I wouldn't be happy if you just had the crest and the side supporters and the motto in the back. You've got to have something in the back. In mine, I just put a blue background with some of those magic stars on it. So you can fill the background with symbols, shapes, line, or color. I'm leaving it up to you. It's your choice. Do your thing. On the back, I need some all over design or some all over pattern. So you can see here, I just did like a simple diamond design on the back. Okay. What I recommend that you do, let me move this down here. I wasn't frozen. Sorry, I was waiting for this. Okay, so these are the examples of my crest that I was just talking to you about. I want you to take notice of down here. This is my brainstorming paper that I have. Some of it looks a little bit different from your personal brainstorming just because I had to change a couple things for this year. So, but you can see that I wrote a lot of notes besides my brainstorming because I was coming up with ideas. I don't want you guys to just run in and try and do all these different things and just start on your art journal. That's impossible. You've got to brainstorm. You've even got to lightly sketch it out. So you can see I did a really simple layout of what I wanted my crest to look like, and you can see the finished product. I want to show you guys some examples from previous semesters. These are current 8th graders projects, and what I want you to see is everybody's looks so different from each other. I do not expect your shields to have to look like a traditional shield. For goodness sakes, I made mine out of a paint palette. Now, some of these that you see are very traditional. Some you see are a little bit more simple, like a square. And then on the background, some people decided to do some imagery. Some people just decided to go with some simple designs like the circles you see. Something really cool that a lot of my students did last year is they had the designs go from the front to the back, and that was really cool. Like mine doesn't do that. Mine has, sorry, I'm very bad at going backwards, guys. Mine has a totally different design, but I really liked that these students like laid their book flat and they thought what it would look like, what the book jacket would look like from the front to the back, or the journal jacket, I should say. I love that on this one right here, you have these cool trees that are holding up the side. Just really creative, really unique things. And again, if you guys want to look at these without me talking, they're going to be on this Google Slides. Color palette, totally up to you. How much details on there, again, totally up to you. And you guys get to choose your own art material. So you could do Sharpies, you could do markers, you could do color pencils. You can do whatever you like. I don't recommend paint or anything that's going to be messy because remember, you're transporting it back and forth and from home to school, and it'll be in your book bag most of the time. Just a few more examples of how the designs can look. I really love this yellow brick road pattern that kind of floats all the way across. I think that's really cool and very easily showed me that that person likes the Wizard of Oz. I love how colorful some of these are. I mean, and some of these have like so many details, and the more details, the better. I die over all the details because I get to learn so much about you. But I also really like this one up here that just has that carryover design from the front to the back. A few more examples. I think that's it. All right, so this is what I recommend for you to do. I would like you to fill out that brainstorming sheet, write a couple notes at the top, make a simple sketch, and then go ahead and start working on your actual journal cover. I recommend doing pencil and then using your Sharpie markers to outline and then going forward to your color materials. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm so excited to see what you do.